All right, this is gonna be a little bit longer video. We're gonna cover hip abduction really fast. So same thing, commercial gym, for convenience's sake, best option. So that's where you sit down, you have the pads. A couple things to note there. For the seated abduction machine, depending on how you angle it, you're gonna work a little bit different part of the hip and glute complex. So if you kind of like lean forward a little bit more in the seat, and you'll see a lot of like fitness influencers do this sometimes. Yeah, like pretend this is an abduction machine. So yeah, if you set the seat and you kind of like lean forward in it, and then you kind of like go through the exercise, you're kind of working a little bit more of the anterior fibers, kind of a little bit more glute minimus, a little bit more. So you work more glute minimus, glute medius a little bit. If you want to work more of the glute max and kind of shift emphasis more to the rear part of the glute, then you're going to recline the seat back. So, and that kind of just aligns the fibers up with the way the glute medius. So you have the glute medius fibers and kind of glute minimus kind of like sits here more, and then the glute medius kind of like covers up this middle portion. And you have the glute max that kind of like has this oblique line of pull here. So by reclining the seat back, so you go from here to something like this, and you work through this plane more. That's going to work more of this glute medius, glute maximus portion of the hip. And if you come up here more, you're kind of working down, it's kind of like this anterior glute minimus portion is going to kind of contribute more to that line of pull. So by kind of leaning the seat back and going through the exercise, you're going to hit that more rear part of the glute. So if you don't have a seated abduction machine, you can set it up with the cables. It's kind of a pain. If I was going to do it, I would set them up relatively close to each other, like on like this distance, and then you basically would want to cross them. Use cables relatively close to each other. You could cross them, and then from there, you would just have to go straight leg. I guess you could anchor it around the knees, but it'd be kind of a pain. Yeah, same principles apply. The other option, single stack cable version. So kind of the opposite of the adductor pull. So it's kind of the opposite of what you're doing. So the adductor one, you kind of go from here and then you press across. This one you start from here and then you just kind of like press sideways with it. So you're here, press sideways. And then depending on which part of the hip you want to work, if you want to kind of anchor, if you want to kind of work more of the glute minimus, you're going to kind of go behind your body here, press that way. And then you want to kind of, and this is what's great about this exercise, you can get a really good stretch of the hips and really kind of like move your pelvis with it. And you kind of work through this hip a little bit too. Here, and then kick out. And then more of the, trying to work medius, glute maximus, then we kind of go more sideways. Glute max more, we're just going to kind of go more towards the back. Now, if you don't have that option, and this is actually my favorite option to use, is, let's see. I have these feet things from Kensley Fitness. You can put plates on here, you can lock them into the clip. But yeah, so these are plate loaded, it just fits on. You strap them in, these attach at the ankle. You can use those, or there's a couple, there's a couple other brands. I forget who makes this orange one. Gym Kicks. These ones are okay if the weight's not good, if the weight you're using isn't too heavy, which for most people on this exercise I'm about to show, you're generally going to go pretty lightweight, especially at first. Omni Strap is probably my next favorite one. So both of these allow you to load dumbbells on your feet. This one's a little bit more expensive. This one's my favorite one to use. It's just the easiest and simplest to use. All you do is you just extend these straps out, throw this around the ankle, and then this just loops through a dumbbell and then over onto the foot. The only thing you gotta be careful about with these ones is the stitching here isn't super strong on this Velcro. So when you take it off, you just gotta go hold it down and, you know, when you peel it off, otherwise it rips all this threading out. So just keep that in mind. That's the only thing I've noticed bad about those. But regardless, whatever you decide to use as weight, all you're gonna do for this version is basically what you're gonna do is, so you're gonna take this bottom foot, you're gonna hook it on the bench like this, you're gonna lay sideways, and then all you're gonna do is you're gonna have the weight on this top leg here, you're gonna come down, and then come up. You can go straight leg with it, you can kind of do like what we covered with the cable machine, where you kind of bend the knee, you allow for that external rotation, and then you internally rotate as you press up. And then you can also, you know, get more hip flexion into it, and then you kind of work those more anterior fibers of the hip there. That so far has been my favorite version to use out of the hip abduction class of exercises. Especially if it's something that you're new at. You probably need to use a whole lot of extra weight, you know, even just using the weight of your leg might be a lot if you're going for high rep counts, like 20 to 50 reps kind of deal. So that's what I recommend for those. Any questions about that, you know, just hit me up in the team chat and I'll get back to you.